Hello, my name is Spencer James, and you're watching that LV Comic Life.
What up, Vegas? Make some noise, yeah! What is my name? My name is Diaz Mackie. My full name is Randolph Diaz Mackie III. Why just Diaz Mackie? It's probably just natural, I guess. I've never been Randolph to my parents or my family or friends. It's always been Diaz since I was a kid, so I think I had to learn that my name was Randolph, actually. So it's just always been Diaz Mackie. How long have I been doing comedy? 10 years. Yep, I started April 29th, 2006. Actually here in Las Vegas, where we are now. What was my first time like? It was really good. Yeah, I didn't write any material, which has been true to form to this day. I just went up and kind of freestyled my set, and this pretty like popular, not because it's like good, but just because like he's one of those like Vegas legends or whatever have you. John King Tamer. He had gone up right before me, and the dude had like a weird bowl cut, like he had a mullet, and he would cut his hair, not like he was balding, but it looked like he cut his hair like right here, and started his hairline there, and he favored Sonny Bono, and I made a comment about him looking like Sonny Bono hitting a tree, and the crowd laughed and did some other stuff. And a veteran who does the World Series of Comedy now, Joe Lowers, came up to me afterwards, and he was telling me a good job, and he had been a veteran like 13 years at the time. And he asked me how long I had been doing it then, and I told him it was my first time, and he was like, "Get out of here, you've been doing it at least 5 years." And I was like, "No, this is my first time." And he looked at me, and he gave me a pat on the back, and he goes, "Well, I hope to see you around," and walked away. My style of comedy, observational, I would say. Observational, probably a little ranty or preachy, and mixed with a little bit of just nonsensical humor in there, I guess. But yeah, I would say observational. Observational, a little political. We're here, ladies and gentlemen. You guys ready for Donald Trump to be president? No. Get ready, because it's going to happen. I can't wait either. I feel like he's the chosen one. I try to make it poignant, even throughout the silliness. I just try to point out things that I think are crazy in my view and make it funny. You know what I mean? But serious topics like Donald Trump and things like that. Just try to point out the funniness in it, but at the same time have people walk away thinking about it. Like, yeah, he made some sense. In my heart of hearts, I believe that he's the president that's going to legalize the purge. I can't wait for that 24 hours of mayhem. Make America great again. I have a theory, or it's probably more of a fact. I don't know, a lot of people share the same theory, so it's not just mine. Like all comments are like a little warped, a little bit like you just see the world through a different color lens or from a different perspective, I guess. And being a product of Michigan and an environment that I was raised in, living in the country and also being in the city, and I don't know, I guess it just forms my view, and then I just take that and use it with my comedy with the observations. Bernie Sanders, he's out of there. Bernie's like your crazy uncle, right? The Oprah Winfrey of politics. He was just like, you get free college, you get free college, you get free college. How you gonna pay for it? I don't know! My mom is a minister. My mom's been a minister since I was probably 7. She became a devout Christian when I was about 5. Yeah, so I'm in my 30s now, so yeah, I've grown up with my mom being a minister for like 30 years. I love coming out here to Vegas, man, but Vegas is crazy. Like, just walking up and down the strip, that's like one of my favorite things to do to catch my favorite childhood superhero that I've idolized my entire life. Out there all drunk and disheveled, right? I'm like, what the hell happened to Spider-Man? His costume's too small, it's all dirty. I'm like, wow, I had no idea Peter Parker was black. It truly is hard out here for a pimp. Oh, it definitely has an influence on what I do today. If I didn't grow up in church, I'd probably be in prison or like a really successful crime lord or something like that. I don't know. It definitely gives you a moral compass. Um, but yeah, I mean that gift, that same gift that comes with like ministry. It's the same gift that I use being on stage. That same anointing. Some church people would say. Just walking up and down the strip, though, is as easy as one would think it is it? Because you're just out there playing that big human game of bumper cars. Because you got old folks and Asians just stopping in front of you, no reason whatsoever. When I first started, it wasn't the case. But within the last few years, I definitely wanted to get to a point to be more poignant in the comedy, make points, be funny. And I think in that as well, you create your own lane and value. You know what I mean? Like dare to be different. You know, I don't want to be that typical black comic that's on stage, you know, humping stools and you know what I mean, and being super animated, which is, I guess, nothing wrong with that. You know, to each its own, but that's not just who I am or who I wanted to be. And so, using, I guess, my church background and my political background and things like that, I've always wanted to be more poignant. So just try to point out social issues that I think maybe going too far left or maybe too far right, and just bring attention to it, but make it funny and have people think about it on their way out. Like, oh, maybe we are getting a little too sensitive in this country. You know what I mean? Like, maybe with the more liberties we've gotten, we have lost a bit of freedom. You know what I mean? We live in a crazy world, man. If you believe in Jesus, get your life together, because he might be coming back to this tonight. How do I prepare for a show? It's probably, I really don't. There's, I like to have like maybe like a moment of quiet, and I wouldn't even say quiet, like, because I'll put on my headphones, but when I say quiet, a moment to myself, just kind of like get my zone, and I just started like rattling off material in my head that I have, but at the same time when I do the show, I'll like come up with some couple concepts that I go into thinking that I want to do, but I always leave something out during the show because I freestyle on stage within my material and just making things up on the fly and coming up with a joke on the spot that's something that I noticed earlier during the day. And instead of like writing that out and trying to make a joke and hitting open mics and trying to work this bit out, I'll just throw it out right there on that show and I'll see what happens with it. And then through various shows, maybe kind of transform the material from there. But yeah, that's how I come up with my material, just from thoughts, and I just throw them out there during the show, see what happens. Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you for this gift, and I welcome your gift of laughter and spontaneity. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be found acceptable in thy sight. How do I handle an off night? I just acknowledge it and like, huh, that happened. And I go over, like, you know, what it was that I could have made better, but I don't beat myself up over it. I never have, really. Because I'm my own harshest critic anyway. Always have been. And I think that's one of my advantages, as well as I have like I guess a innate gift to be able to, it sounds weird, but step outside of myself and observe myself sometimes. And so I try to give myself an honest opinion about myself instead of that, like, oh, you're great and all that. Like, no, you could have worked on this. This is what you need to do. So, handling a bad show, I just accept it, brush on and carry on. When I first started, even then, it was just more of an acceptance, like, ah, that happened. You know what I mean? What can you do about it? I'm not going to go home and beat myself up and like, oh, I got to kill myself and I should quit comedy. It's just like, huh, that happened. Let's make the next one better. What was being homeless like? It was like being homeless. Like, I was homeless out here for 3 months. Being homeless, and I was homeless in Las Vegas. Was when I first started doing comedy, and was doing it full time. Like wasn't working a job or whatever have you. And at this point in time, I felt like I didn't want to work a job, and I didn't have any money. And so instead of asking a friend or calling home and trying to beg for money or whatever have you, I just, again, being observational, I just kind of accepted my punishment. I was like, this is my story. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to work a job, I'm not going to go ask somebody if I can stay at your house and then watch you go to work every day while I'm on, at the time, MySpace, trying to live my dream.
I chose to be homeless, though. I didn't have to be, right? Pride. I don't want to sleep in nobody's house and not work a job. And I don't want to sleep at no girl's house because that's just way too much power for them. You know what I mean? Can't put yourself in that predicament. I was like, I choose homelessness.
So I lived outside. And I would go to my friend's house and shower, but they wouldn't. Or to the gym. And no one even knew I was homeless though until I wasn't. And I started telling jokes about it. Which is also funny, because it's like, people don't help you if they don't think you need it. You know what I mean? If they can't see that you need it or you're not asking for it. And I could have used the help, but no one could tell that I was homeless. You know what I mean? I was still shaving every day and cutting my own hair and taking showers and changing clothes. It's like, hey, you look hungry. You know? But I slept over on Sahara. And it was an abandoned restaurant, and I would sleep on the porch patio. I'd get drunk at my show, go sleep on the patio on the floor, and yeah. Yeah, every spot that I would pick too, I couldn't have a visible spot. Like, nobody could, like, I wasn't gonna make it possible for you to be like driving down the street and look over and be like, oh look, that's Diaz sleeping on that park bench. Like, every spot was like obscure and had shade. And it was during the summertime, so it got very hot and I stayed dehydrated a lot. At the end of it all, what do I hope that people take from my career? I hope that it brings people together, and you know. But I hope that at the end, I was like, oh, he was a good dude, and he cared, and he did well for others. That he was always trying to look out for others.
We live in a crazy world, man. If you believe in Jesus, get your life together, because he might be coming back to this tonight.
I don't believe comedy is it for me, nor acting. I do believe that I will always do comedy in some form or passion, but I don't think it's the end all. I could see myself transitioning to a pastoral position at some point, but even more so than that, because I think it's the same spirit if used in the correct way, and the same anointing.
How many couples do we have in here by round of applause? Couples? She raised her hand, how cute. Single people, you hear that affection? You hear that? It was like, yeah, we together. How many couples are together just because you can't afford to pay rent by yourself?
I make some bad decisions, but through that, maybe some good comes out of it. So I know that's nothing but His grace, mercy, Him just looking over me like, this idiot. You know, the Bible says that He takes care of the fool.
Have a lot of fun. My name is Diaz Mackie. Enjoy the rest of the show.
For Diaz Mackie.
My name is Spencer James. My real name is Joshua Spencer. Not a lot of people know that. I have a little bit of a lisp, and Joshua is kind of hard. Like, I called the suicide hotline. I don't know if anybody's ever done that. Like, I called it. That's a difficult job, you know what I'm saying? I called it up. She's like, don't take your life. How can I help you? And I was like, I just got drunk playing Yahtzee. I'm having a great day. And I thought you could use a break. No, I'm totally messing with you. That's not the way it goes. I was working in California, and it's a really horrible story. I was working in California at a 24 Hour Fitness, and there were 3 Joshes that worked there before I got there. So like, we're gonna call you Spencer. On my business cards, they put Spencer J. And people would ask, I'd see 20 or 30 people a day. They're like, what's the J stand for? And I would say, Joshua. Why do they call you Joshua? Because there's three. It's a long-winded story, kind of like this right now. And I said, but then so I just said James one day, and they didn't ask anything. James is okay. Joshua's not. James is okay as a last name. So then we would get to the end of the sales process, and I would say, hey, I'm performing at the Ha Ha Cafe, or I'm going to be at the LA Improv. And they would say, okay, who do we ask for? And I was like, Spencer James. And they're like, okay. And that prevented all questions. So I had headshots made, I had the name, and then that's it. And I carried it with me for the rest of the time.
Wow.
It's a horrible story. I wish I had something sexier, but it's not. That's the whole thing. Like, we don't want to call you something. We're going to call you something else. I'm like, all right.
I like this. Anytime, I grew up a middle child, so anytime this many adults is paying attention to me, I really appreciate it. So, thank you. Like you, sir, you look like my father, right? But you're not him. You know why? Because you're making eye contact with me right now. It's amazing!
When I first started and I had my first few minutes, my buddy at Home Depot was named Jordan, so I called myself Joshua Jordan because he used to be a good gauge if something worked. You know, I think one of my first jokes was we saw a guy in a wheelchair by a ladder. I was at Home Depot, right? That's a fun place. I saw a guy in a wheelchair by a ladder. I'm gonna wait till the other half of you get that. A guy in a wheelchair bought a ladder. That's optimistic. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to do with it. Go home, get drunk, stare at it. Someday. He just starts laughing. He's like, oh, that's funny, bro. This is white, so you had the pigeon. He's like, oh, it's funny, bro. And he's like, okay, cool. So I would gauge things off of him. And if he didn't laugh, I'd be like, all right, don't use that.
It didn't help I was the fattest kid. I was the fattest kid in my neighborhood. I was fat in the 80s when it was new. It started a trend that I'm not proud of. I wish it had been pogs.
Winning the World Series of Comedy in Las Vegas is important because of the Las Vegas part, especially. Everybody knows this town. Everybody knows this city. So that's helped. You won something. You were the funniest guy that night. Everybody, oh, okay. You beat out some other contestants. I've done a lot of competitions, as I'm sure you have. I've done a lot of festivals. I did a lot of stages at the World Series, and I liked that festival just because I thought it was pretty fair. I did it for 2 years before that, and every time I lost, I was like, yeah, I didn't deserve that. But that night, I was like, I think I deserve to win. And so when I won, I was like, all right, cool. So it's feature work. You still got to be business savvy. You still got people are buying a product, they want to fill seats. So it's a good credit. It's a credit that I can put on, but each day you get away from it like you need a new credit. Like it's 2014, so it's like, it's good 2 years ago. Cool. What have you done for me lately? That's that kind of thing. So we need to put some more stuff in the frying pan, but it's a good credit, man. I love it. It was an amazing thing that happened. I'm happy with it. So it's done well for me.
I had to tell her, wait a minute, wait a minute. Wait a minute, wait a minute. I had to tell her, you're speeding, baby, best slow it down. Them flashing lights gon' come.
My style of comedy, I recorded one CD, and my second CD I want to record in December. If someone said the world's ending January 1st, what would you want to leave behind that said that this is who I was when I was here? That's what I'm writing now. 6 stories, 5 minutes, and each one ends with a song. So not a comical song, nothing like that. I sing just, like you, but I like singing, I like dancing, I grew up in theater. So my idea is to add an element to it that's just a little different, to tell these stories, and then at the end of the story, just cap it off with a song that makes sense, that has something to do with that story. And then if it goes well, you smash the story, and then after that you go into the song. And then you start over, just Cosby style. Not like not like Cosby style now, where they like get drugged and forget what you just did, but like Cosby style where he would do a whole thing and then the lights change behind him and he goes into a different story. Stuff like that. So my style, I think I want more of that. I want more of of a quickness, of a style, of something that you can look forward to be like, oh, here a song comes. Here a song comes, you know? Like, oh, the song comes. And then you're putting yourself back into a hole after a song by going back to zero. Will it work? Will it not work? I have no idea. But that's the goal, to try to get a new 30.
There I am.
A guy told me once, when you first start this, it was in Hawaii, and he goes, when you first start this, there's going to be a thing that unlatches in your head, and you're going to see things, and you can't shut it off. It's going to be continuous, and you're not going to be able to shut it off. And it's true. I walk into this room, and there's 90 things that bug me, you know. Not that bug me, but there's 90 things that I'm like, I asked you how many questions before we even started. Like, why is that hat? You do a character? I forgot about Pigeon. Why is there all kinds of people dressed up on this comedy show but not in other shows? When was that one taken? How come we're not sitting on these chairs? How come we're not sitting up here? Like, my mind goes crazy. Just like that when you put the headphones on. I was like, I gotta take a picture. I don't even know why. Why does that have a screensaver, but the one behind you doesn't have a screensaver? Like, I don't understand why these things happen. And you can't shut it off. You cannot shut it off. Why are we using two cameras? There's one here and one here. I have no idea until I see the video, and then maybe it'll make sense. Why did you point the light that way? I don't understand these things, but I want to know. Does someone have to water this, or is this fake? Like this, it does not stop. I don't know how to get it to stop. So, what was the question? You take a drive, it makes me giggle every time. If you drive through the mountains, there's a sign every time you go by, it makes me laugh. First, it scared the crap out of me and goes, danger! Falling rocks ahead! And then everybody just drives past it. Nobody stops. Nobody stops. There's no U-turn. There's no canopy. There's no gun turrets like shooting the rocks. There's just a sign that says, you might get messed up in the area. Worst show I ever had is, it's funny to us. You know, it's funny to us. There's a lot of them. There was one at the Aurora Community College at noon. At noon is when we were doing this. And me and Paul was the other comic. He had to do 15 and I had to do 35, I think. 30. He had to do 15 to 20 and I had to do like 35 to 40. And we go into this room and it's a lecture hall and there's windows, bright windows. This is in the middle of the day. Big windows, and there's like 50 seats in here. And it's 15 minutes of Showtime. And there's nobody in this lecture hall. There's nobody in this lecture hall. Okay, it's not even a lecture hall, it's more like a classroom. And so me and Paul are like, there's nobody in here. And it's 15 minutes till show. I mean, it's almost 10 minutes to show. And she's like, yeah, we'll get people in here. We'll get people in here. And if we don't, then we'll just move that back wall. It was one of those movable walls. And I go, why would you want to make this room bigger if there's somebody in here? She goes, no, that opens to the cafeteria. Not kidding. We left. 10 minutes later, we come back. That wall is moved, and there's chaos happening behind. There's chaos happening behind that. And there was a mic stand that got put right in front of this kid at a high top table who was like eating Cheetos, like just looking at it. It's just, I'm like, why is this here? You know? And there's chaos. There's 4 laptops playing music. And she just walks right in. She was like the dean of like the students or whatever. So she commanded attention. Like as soon as she walked to the mic, she was like, okay, kids. And everybody got quiet. Laptops were down, everything. She's like, we're gonna do stand up. We'd like to introduce our first comic, Paul Berluche. That's it. That's all she said. Walks off. He just like kind of jogs, gets to the mic. And he just proceeded to just go right into jokes. He didn't say hi. He didn't ask anything. He just went in. It was just that feeling that creeps over you where you're just like, I felt it and I wasn't even up there yet. And I look at my watch. It was like what we were discussing. I looked at my watch when he was up there and I was like, man, he's got to be halfway done. 45 seconds. That I felt it for him. I was like, oh my God. And I just started. And then we heard this popping noise. He was up there for literally not even a couple minutes. And we hear this popping noise to our left. I'm sitting behind him. He's here performing. I'm sitting in the chairs in one of the chairs we're supposed to perform in. There's blank here, and there's just dead faces of like 60 college kids looking at us eating their lunch. And Paul's doing his set. And then I looked down, I was like, oh man. And then it was like pop, and we look over, and the dean lady had started a popcorn machine 3 feet from us. And I just looked at her, and I felt Paul looking at me, and I look over, and Paul's like, what do I do? Like, dude, She totally disregarded the 60 people and looks at me and goes, what do I do? And I go, you just turn around. I just start laughing. You just turn around, just keep doing whatever it is you're doing, man. We get paid for 55 minutes, so just do your 15 and then it's my turn. And we're talking like these people don't exist. And he's like, why are you laughing right now? And I go, because I got to do 40 when you're done. So whenever you're done, I get to do that times 3. So let's go. Let's hurry up and get it done. And he gets off, or he gets done with whatever he's doing and walks off. And I get up there and I was like, And then she left. She left like 5 minutes into mine. So I kind of did some bad stuff. But they liked that, and then it was okay, but it was still one of the most horrific experiences.
Just wanna break from it all. Too much drama in this city life, and I'm tired of fighting. And I know you've been stressed out too, and a little getaway could be so